Yo, it's your homeboy Kiiro in the building. Welcome to another episode of One Piece Gist. In this episode, we talk about One Piece chapter 768. Quick channel update before I continue. My last bunch of videos, the quality hasn't been up there in terms of like using pictures and stuff like that, but that's because I'm on my second copyright strike and I don't want to enter the sort of double four zone with my channel in terms of channel standing. So I'm trying to resolve that in the meantime, because unlike the first copyright strike, this one's a bullshit one. So I'm pretty sure it's gonna resolve itself. Hopefully, you never know with these things. And once it's over, you should see the quality go back up to what it used to be in terms of me using pictures and stuff like that. Yeah, just a quick update right there. And yeah, if you're new to this channel, the way I do my reviews is usually there's a spoiler-free review first. Afterwards, we have a more in-depth discussion. So now let's start the review. This was a very, very good chapter of One Piece. The flashbacks are over, so there's some story progression in that sense. There's some other story progression aside from that, but I can't really spoil it in the review itself. But that aside, just a really nice chapter, a lot of action. And just really fast-paced and very enjoyable. We also had a really good cover story in comparison to the last 5 or so cover stories. Well, excluding the Naruto shout out. Yeah, this is probably the best cover story concerning the Jinbei thing. And that's pretty much it for this review. Now we're gonna start with the discussion section, and this will contain spoilers, so you have been warned. Speaking of the Jinbei cover story, I think it's an incredible cover story page. What was a terrible cover story is now a really, really ambitious cover story, because this has to do with the Sky Islands, you know what I'm saying? So we could have something concerning ancient weapons, something concerning the moon, or they could go a bunch of ways with this, but it's very interesting, and thumbs up for this cover story. Without this, the Jinbei cover story would have been totally garbage, but it's nice to see, things pick up. Now, before I get into the obvious Law versus Doflamingo thing, I'm just gonna mention a few things that I think are noteworthy that people might ignore or just skip over or forget. So these are the things. Robin is not gonna fight Gladius by the looks of things. At least that's my understanding of it. Bartolomeo's protecting her and giving her a chance to escape. So I wonder who she's gonna fight. Maybe Buffalo, because he wasn't shown in this chapter, which is the second interesting thing, because Viola can see even through buildings, but she still couldn't see, Buffalo. But I guess the reason they didn't show him is maybe because he's supposedly out, knocked out, because for example they didn't really show Sugar in this chapter either, so maybe that's why they didn't show him. So I'm really curious to see where Robin's gonna go. Maybe she might fight Gladius after all, but my understanding of it this chapter is she will not fight Gladius. Speaking of Gladius, Gladius seems to be fighting Cavendish, or should I say Hakuba. I think Gladius is gonna dominate the fight, and then Hakuba is gonna sort of seal the deal for Cavendish. Next thing we see is that Koala, or the next thing that I think is noteworthy, is that Koala and Sabo are not together. She seems to be running somewhere, whereas Sabo is just trying to protect people from all the chaos. And the next thing I'm going to mention is something pretty big in my opinion, and there's like a sort of sequence of panels, and someone says something along the lines of the only people who can save this country are the pirates, and the next thing we see is Fujitora just silent. I think that's a really powerful sequence of panels, and I think this is foreshadowing that Fujitora might in fact leave the Marines. I think I'll have to make a separate video about this, because there's a lot more to it than him just simply leaving the Marines. But we'll get to it when we get to it, or when I make the video at least. And let me think, just to make sure I don't forget anything. I think that's about it. So now we can go back to one more thing. We see that, well, we don't really see it, or at least I didn't, but Diamante is about to start using some flashy move, and something was happening to the ground, so maybe he can make even the ground flatter like paper. So that's going to be pretty crazy if he can do that, but I'm not quite sure what he's going to do. But I think his fight against Karis is actually going to be pretty beast. I look forward to it. Anyways, moving forward, or backward I guess, to the Law versus Doflamingo fight. It's really nice to see Law having his own one-on-one time against Doflamingo, because be a Luffy fanboy all you want, Law deserves to defeat Doflamingo more than Luffy. I don't mind both of them defeating him together. I don't mind Luffy defeating Doflamingo. It's just I don't want a situation where what do you call it? Law has to fight Treble whilst Luffy's fighting Doflamingo. I don't think that makes too much sense. And it really isn't like Law is terribly weak to the extent where Luffy's the one that needs to pick him up. You know, like it's sort of like Luffy defeating Mihawk instead of Zoro. That's the way I see it, and that's why I think Law deserves, deserves to have this little bit of action against Doflamingo. It's also really nice because the first time around when Doflamingo and Law fought, they sort of skipped the whole fight because Oda can't really reveal all the moves too early. But now that we're getting to the climax of Dressrosa, he's not holding back and we're getting a lot of nice action. Both characters are bleeding, both characters are going all out. We see Haki, we see tricks up their sleeves. It's just pretty crazy. And Law, thanks to the flashback, he's really putting in work against Doflamingo. He's really putting in work against Doflamingo. Now, I think one of the most important things foreshadowed in this chapter, if not the most important thing, is that Doflamingo might die. He might die in Dressrosa, and I think I need to make a video about this because it's a lot deeper than I think most people realize, and I'm gonna make a video on that eventually. But yeah, I think I've gone on long enough. This seems like a slightly long chapter review. By my standards at least. So I'll try and wrap things up here. Thank you for chilling all the way to the end. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And as always, thank you guys for watching.